All right. Thank you, everyone. So we start Bhagavad Gita as it is by Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of ISKCON, chapter 4 today, and transcendental knowledge. Last week we briefly, we discussed about what we cover in transcendental knowledge chapter 4. But today we will go verse by verse as usual, how we do for other chapters. Text 1. श्रीभगवानुवाच इमं विवस्वते योऽहं प्रोक्तवान् अहम् अव्ययं विवस्वान् मनवे प्राह मनुरिक्ष्वाकवे ब्रवीत्. Translation. The personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Vivaswan, and Vivaswan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed to Ikshvaku. So if you look at this hierarchy, Krishna is telling Arjuna that Arjuna, it's not that I'm just talking about this Bhagavad Gita, speaking Bhagavad Gita for the first time to you. I've spoken this like millions of years ago, which will come in the next verses. So this science of yoga I have first given to sun god Vivaswan, because it is said in the Sun dynasty, comes Raghuvamsa. You say Raghuvamsa, right? Like Ramachandra comes from Raghuvamsa, and Krishna comes from Chandra Vams. So he gave this knowledge because it is said sun god follows dharma. So and also he's most powerful. So he gave the knowledge to him. So usually when you give knowledge in the Vedic days, they choose the king. Why? Because king has the power to establish that knowledge back to the community. Because if you give, for example, if I wanted to do something, right, some community welfare, something, if I have the capacity, if I have the power or potential or the power, I would say, to approach the local council mayor, for example, and I approach her or him and tell, look, this is my project, and if you approve, it will be good for the community. Then she would, she would pass the message to the community, people in the community, correct? So it's work faster rather than me personally going and approaching every individual, which is not possible. Because when there is a higher authority who has, generally and naturally they would have higher power, they can easily impart the knowledge. Whatever the message has to be passed on, they can give it to the prajas, correct? That is why Arjuna was chosen, because he was a Kshatriya in the kingly position. Yudhishthira is supposedly going to be a king, but obviously he is a brother of Yudhishthira, and he has that power, so he can impart the knowledge. But again, it is not expected of Arjuna that he has to go and impart the knowledge to others. It is actually automatically, Vedavyas wrote Mahabharata, and part of Mahabharata is Bhagavad Gita. So it's already going to be imparted, no doubt. But Krishna chose the Kshatriya for a reason, not a Sudra or a Vaishya or a Brahmana. But again, there is no caste system as such to learn the science of yoga, science of bhakti yoga. That is also there. So in this verse, let me go and see what are the points we can learn. So chapter 4, first 4 verses, it's talking about the lineage of transcendental knowledge. So this knowledge is not like brand new, Arjuna, but it's coming from parampara. So that parampara has been established already. So that is being discussed here. And Vivashwan's son Manu and his son Ikshvaku. So Vivashwan is the sun god, and it is not, again, sun god is not a name. It's not a position. It is a position. It's not the name. Surya, when you say Surya, it's just the position. So Vivashwan is the name of the sun planet. So that we need to understand. We don't assume that always sun god means Vivashwan. No, every time it changes. It depends on one's piety. They get the position of Lord Indra or Surya or Chandra. It depends on how much piety. More piety you get, higher planet, topmost planet you go, which is Brahmaloka, within material world I'm talking about. Of course, topmost planet is Krishna Loka. Even Vaikuntha is just below that only. Okay, but regardless, we shouldn't underestimate or understate the power of Vaikuntha. Obviously, Vaikuntha also has its own power. Okay, so the first four verses are explained. So what happens is, Krishna will tell in the upcoming verses, because of this, it's been broken. That's why I have to re-establish with you, Arjuna. Okay, so let me try to get any good points from the purport of Srila Prabhupada. Okay, we'll go to the next verse and then I'll come back to the purport later. Evam parampara praptam imam raja rishiyo viduha sakalenah mahata yoga nashtah parantapa. The supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore science as it is appears to be lost. So here is what I was mentioning. So even though it was coming through the disciplic succession, but at some point of time, it broke. So therefore, it has to be re-established. So it was lost. The purpose of Gita appeared to be lost. I'll come back to the purport again for this also. स एवं मायतेऽद्य योः प्रोक्तः पुरातनः भक्तोषि मे सखा चेति rahashyam hi edat uttamam. Translation: that very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you because you are my devotee as well as my friend and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. So this transcendental knowledge is rakashyam. If you look at the word here, Krishna is saying it is rakashyam. It's not that it's just open secret. It is secret. But now, obviously, because it's Bhagavad Gita, it is open secret because it's been written and it's been published and it's been spoken again and again through other Vaishnavas. Regardless, it is still not to be understood. It can't be understood by everybody. So it is still Rakashyam only. Unless or until you have a qualification to be able to hear this plus understand this, you can't get this. Correct? So in this verse, Krishna is telling the qualification. Why Arjuna was chosen? Because he was a devotee as well as his friend, Krishna's friend. That is why Krishna spoke this Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so the transcendental knowledge is not that we can understand easily unless, or of course, you have the submissive mood that is also discussed in chapter 1, right? So Srila Prabhupada in one of the purports in Srimad Bhagavatam, he was explaining about Archa Vigraha. Archa Vigraha means the Vigraha Murti you see in the temples, the idols. It's not ordinary idols. It's look like it is made up of sometimes clay, sometimes stone, sometimes different kind of metals, brass and stuff like that. But the potency in that idol, it's not ordinary. So the acharyas who install the deities in a temple or even sometimes in the home installation, they actually does the yagya, and then they invite the Lord to come and reside in this deity form. And it is the mercy of Krishna who come and reside in the deity form, which is apparently in the material element, right? One or more of the material elements, but it becomes transcendental because Krishna comes and resides after the request made by the acharyas. That's why we need to do proper installation. And it is Krishna's mercy that it is not that he has to come and stay with us, right? But because our eyes, our ears, everything is material and defected. It's all, they have defects, right? What to speak of defects naturally, we also developed ongoing defects, like by looking at computer we develop eye issue, by just hearing too loud noise we hear, we develop hearing issues. Okay, so these kinds of issues are we are developing over the time. On top of already we have defective senses, the eyes and ears and mouth and everything. We have limited power only. With that, how can we see the Lord? We don't have qualification. We don't have perfect senses, right? We have defective eyes and hearing. If Krishna speaks also, if he speaks in Sanskrit, we don't understand Sanskrit. If he just comes and gives darshan also, we don't know whether this is Krishna or not, and what is this, who is this, is it show or magician? So we are always in the maya. So we don't know all that. That is why we need the guidance of acharya, senior devotees. Hmm? They, what they do is give us these instructions, give us the understanding of this is Archa Vigraha, what is the importance of this, etc. Therefore, whatever we with the defective senses, even though we have all of those imperfect senses and all these shortcomings, still we will be able to understand the Lord and his transcendental message if a devotee mercifully imparts that knowledge to us. Okay, so therefore we need to be humble always. And so that one we discussed, right? The qualification we discussed. So now practical application. Learning the tradition of this knowledge will give Arjuna faith in what is he hearing. Additionally, so the presentation of Bhagavad Gita's history is a precursor to Krishna's revelation of his transcendental knowledge. Learning the tradition of this knowledge will give Arjuna faith in what is he hearing. Additionally, Krishna's claim to be the original proponent of knowledge that is more than 2 million old sparks a conversation that allows Krishna to reveal his supreme transcendental position. See, there are two things happening here. One, Krishna is revealing transcendental knowledge, but also he is establishing his position, original position, that 2 million years ago he imparted this knowledge to sun god. Means, wow, that means he must be he must be superior than sun god, right? If I am teaching someone, means I'm superior. Definitely I'm not teaching anything, obviously, I'm still learning. I'm just saying, for example, if someone is teaching someone, let's say Krishna's example only. Krishna is teaching a sun god, then Arjuna will ask in the upcoming verses, oh, sun god is always senior, he is always there. Sun god, any yuga cycle, any time of the year, sun is there. Unless there are unfortunate countries where sun is, sun's darshana is very minimal, that is so unfortunate. But generally speaking, sun god is always present. You can see the sun is, he appears and disappears, that's the only thing, but sun is always there. But Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to sun god, so that means he is superior, he must be superior, right? So that establishment is there. So that's something we are understanding through the purpose of acharyas like Prabhupada. Okay, and 2 million years ago, so we understand Krishna is Adi Narayana. He is Adi, Adi Deva. He is the origin of all the devas, and Deva Deva. He is Deva. He is Deva superior to all the devas also. And of course, we already know from Brahma Samhita, he is also cause of all causes, and he is the creator of everything. So we understand from Bhagavad Gita the position of soul, the matter, and Krishna. That's why the subject matter of Bhagavad Gita is Jiva, Ishvara, Prakriti, Kala, and Karma. So we understand all these 5 subject matters in Bhagavad Gita. Okay. And also Prabhupada always warns this. If you read this last line, can somebody read this from this one?
The demonic
Yeah.
the demonic however, do not accept Lord Krishna as he is. Instead, they concoct something about Krishna and mislead general readers from the path of Krishna's instructions. Here is a warning about such misleading paths. One should try to follow the disciplinic succession from Arjuna and thus be benefited by his great science of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Sorry.
Yeah. So if you tell Krishna was present when Kamsa was there, of course, Kamsa is the uncle of Krishna, right? And Jarasandha, they all were, close to Krishna. They all have access to Krishna, but still, even though they know Krishna is supreme, but they couldn't reconcile that fact. They thought he is his enemy. They could not understand or accept Krishna as he is, and always they just considered him as their enemy, and they wanted to kill Krishna. How can how can we kill anyone? Na hanyate hanyamane sarire. Second chapter Sankhya Yoga we studied. Krishna says that soul cannot be slain. The body can be slain. So the body can be killed. The soul cannot be killed, Arjuna. So even though you look like you're killing these many people, but you can never kill anybody. It's just the body that is perishable, that will be perished. Whether you do it or tomorrow it happens, it will happen. So at least if you do it during the war, at least you are establishing the dharma there. For dharmic purposes, you are killing these people who are inimical to dharma, who are not following the dharmic path. So you are doing the right thing, even though killing is wrong generally, but the purpose and intention are more important than the action. That is the point Krishna says, correct? So even though we, for example, we are trying to offer something to Krishna, so our purpose, intention to please Krishna. If that is the intention, Krishna will accept the offering, devotional love with love and devotion that we offer, whatever. Even though it is simple water, tulsi leaf, he'll accept. But our purpose and intention is to do something, to get something else, to have higher uh, position, wealth and whatever the material things that we wanted. But again, it's not related to Krishna consciousness, but more for our own sense enjoyment. Then how one can accept, like if for example my son Vallabha comes and does something to me with the intention that he'll get something out of it, then I'll be little disappointed. Even though he is my son, I'll still give him, but I'll be disappointed. I'll be displeased, and dissatisfied. Well, whatever you do, you just, this is what you get, right? Okay, that's fine. I'll give you whatever you ask, and I can understand your intention. It's such a bad intention, but what to do? That's what you want. Like that, Krishna gives also for us. But when we do it without anything wanting in return, he just lovingly accepts and reciprocates without even having us to ask anything to him. He knows his devotees desires, whatever we have in our heart. Like we would think, oh, it would have been better if it happened this way, then he will make that way. But it's not that we asked him, but because one spark of time we just thought about something, then he will fulfill that desire also. That is Krishna, right? So therefore we don't have to worry about all this. We have to make a plan and ask Krishna that this is what I want, can you do this or that? No, he'll accept everything we offer and understand and reciprocate also. But for demons, people with demoniac qualities like Kamsa, Jarasandha, or Duryodhana, or Ravana, their intention was very selfish. So when it becomes selfless, that's when we can see and feel Krishna's reciprocation. Okay. So verse number 4. Arjuna uvacha aparam bhavato janma param janma vivashvadaha kadam etad vijaniyam tvam ado proktavaniti. Translation. Arjuna said, the sun god Vivasvan is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed the signs to him? Right? It's not that Arjuna didn't believe Krishna, but he was little confused. Like when I'm saying something, how come that is possible? Huh? That is not possible. But it's just he's just being inquisitive and asking this question. Okay, so Why Krishna as Paramatma in everyone's heart makes someone do this or that? Why? Because it's for a reason. In this case, he made Arjuna to ask such a question. It's not for Arjuna's own benefit, but also for the benefit of all the people, common people like you and me, because some so-called intelligent people, they would question this. Hang on a minute, how come? Sun god is always superior. How come Krishna will teach? Krishna only came Dwapara Yuga and he was a kid doing, eating mud and playing with monkeys. And now you're telling me he spoke Bhagavad Gita to Vivashwan? That is not possible. This is rubbish. So this is how atheistic mentality people would think. But now here Arjuna is not atheistic. He is absolutely devotee because Krishna already declared, right, in the verse 2 verses before, you are my devotee and a friend. That's why I'm giving you this knowledge. So therefore that question also, that doubt also is cleared. Arjuna definitely not demoniac or atheist to ask such a question. It's just for us to understand that why Krishna, like how it is possible. Okay, so that is why for us some questions are asked at certain stages so that we get the knowledge, we get the answer. uh, Sometimes we just hear whatever Krishna speak, we hear, because if we have piety, that piety will make us to listen and accept the truth, absolute truth. But when one doesn't have that enough piety, they will question so much in so uh, obsessive or arrogant way. Here also Arjuna asking question, but the question he asking is so in the mood of humility, submissiveness and everything. Okay, but not in the challenging mood, rather than the submissive mood. That's the difference. Okay. um all right, we'll go to the next verse. Mm. And the other thing is, sun god is the king of all the planets. Okay, so that is why he was chosen. I already explained why the knowledge was always chosen in the royal community, because they have the power to distribute the knowledge. If king says something, the citizens has to follow. Correct? They have to follow. But if I go for, I gave you the example also, mayor. If I tell the mayor to distribute this knowledge to others, they'll do it. People will listen. If I go separately, independently, no, not many people would listen to me. If the community has 50,000 people, maybe hardly 5 people can listen to me. Correct? And that too, I have to approach all those many people. But with mayor, one message, my Facebook and newsletter and stuff like that, automatically people will get the knowledge and they follow also, because the power is there. They have to follow, they should be following, like that. So that's why Arjuna was chosen, and then royal order, sun god was chosen. So sun god was the first disciple of Bhagavad Gita, and then later on the chain broke. Now Arjuna has become the disciple again in the upcoming generations. So 5,000 years ago, so he spoke this. And what other points I can give? He selected, yeah, we discussed that. He is the king of all planets and controls all planets and rotating under Krishna's order, as mentioned in Brahma Samhita. And Vivashwan exists. So Bhagavad Gita exists in society for more than what, 2 trillion years ago or something. I don't know. So 10,000 2 million years ago, more than 2 million years ago. So given to Vivaswan at least 1.5 million years ago. Arjuna spoken to, so again the Bhagavad Gita spoken to Arjuna 5,000 years ago. Why? Because original purpose was scattered by motives of unscrupulous commentators. So if you read in 4.2 purport, it is said there. So other thing is, Bhagavad Gita is there for 5,000 years ago in writing for us, correct? Those days they speak, and then the disciples will hear and grasp the full knowledge, whatever spoken by the guru. They observe everything and keep it in memory. It will not go ever. It will stay in their brain for lifetime. But for us, if I have to memorize a verse, just a single 4-line verse, I have to do that repeatedly, and then only for half an hour, whatever the time that I spent there, I wouldn't remember. Next day, I have to check again. 10 days after, I can hardly remember one word. And then 1 month after, I have no idea whether I spoke, I by hearted this verse or not, because I totally forgot. Why I have to go that many days? Even next day itself, I can tell I can't remember anymore. That's how our memory is. My memory, at least. Okay, it's very poor. So we need to improve our memory. That is another subject matter. But those days, the memory was so high. I tell you something. You just observe. You're done. You're fully observed and it's stored in the memory. And then anytime you can just quote the verses depending on the situation. Okay. So though, and now that in writing, because Kali Yuga people are so sumandaha, it's very lazy and less memory. Therefore, it was put in writing so that we can refer back. Those days they don't have to, so it was not written millions of years ago. But for Kali Yuga people, we need things in writing. Even these days, whenever you ask something, the telemarketer calls you, gives you a good deal, you will ask for, can you give me in writing? Because you want to see and you want to compare, you want to refer back. Otherwise, we will not remember. Okay. I also write down if I have to do list for the day. If I do that in a piece of paper, I have to write down everything for whatever I have to do. If I don't do that, then I will not do every jobs. I would have missed some jobs because we have been habituated, and because of poor memory only, we have to do something to be organized and get the job done. We have to put things in writing. So for our benefit only, the Bhagavad Gita, all the Vedas, everything was put in writing so we can refer back. So when you refer back also, we need to be able to understand. First of all, we need to know Sanskrit and meaning for the Sanskrit. And then the intention of writing or speaking that verse or that particular whatever context that was referring to, that we have to understand. Where do we get all this knowledge from? So if I say Sri Bhagavan Uvasha means sometimes people would manipulate on that also. Who is Bhagavan? Whether Bhagavan is Vishnu or Narayana or Krishna or Lord Shiva. Some people were Ishvara is Lord Shiva. They think Ishvara means Shiva. Correct? But Krishna is Ishvara. He is the supreme controller. Supreme Ishvara is Krishna. So again there is a conflict. So when someone comes forward, whoever is an educator, learned Sanskrit scholar, let me put it in writing in a simple English or translation or Hindi. So people from that language can understand. And they do that. What do? They again twist and turn and give the meaning from their own mind, not as it is. Then what you get is their opinion on the Bhagavad Gita, that was not as it is. So that is why we are definitely recommended that we should read Bhagavad Gita the purport written by someone who give the knowledge as it is. Because I don't want your opinion. I can ask that later. But I rather want the opinion of Krishna, what he spoke 5,000 years ago. Wait a minute, I can listen to you anytime, man. You can tell me your opinion later. But what Krishna said, you tell me that. Sometimes if I want to tell something what happened to my husband, I started here and I went there, I caught the bus and then I went there and there was a delay and then I spoke this, and then my husband would say, okay, what did they say? Just come to the point. You don't have to give me the whole explanation from the day you start here and the day you ended here. No, just give me the essence. The essence of Vedas is Bhagavad Gita, and in that essence what you learn, what Krishna spoke, that's what we want. So that is what given by Prabhupada. So we need to take that knowledge and then understand Bhagavad Gita. Otherwise, this will not be Bhagavad Gita as it is, correct? So if I am giving my opinion and then another commentator giving his opinion, so this need to be eradicated. For us, we need to be clear that we read Bhagavad Gita as it is, and then we understand from the purport. If there is no purport, we won't understand anything because we don't know context, correct? Especially Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. so many verses, and I already told you, right? Atma can be referred as soul, sometimes body, sometimes Paramatma, sometimes matter. So we don't know exactly in what context it was referred as. That is why we need Guru. That is also we'll discuss. Okay, this verse I haven't read it, right? So can somebody read this verse, please?
श्रीभगवानुवाच बहूनि मे व्यतीतानि जन्मानि तव चार्जुन तान्यहं वेद सर्वाणि न त्वं वेत्थ परन्तपः परन्तप okay. The personality of Godhead said, many, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot, O subduer of the enemy.
Mm. So Arjuna asked, "How come you are superior, but Sun God is superior, right? You were playing with me. You are almost same age as me." That is how Arjuna is asking, right? Now Krishna is saying, "Oh, come on, Arjuna, you and me not same, and we both pass many births, yes, but I can remember everything. You cannot." And Krishna will tell in 10th chapter that Smriti Jnanam Apohanam Cha. So I give the knowledge, intelligence, and forgetfulness to everyone. Okay, that means obviously he must be the superior. He is Bhagavan. Bhagavan means what? Bhaga means six opulences: wealth, knowledge, beauty, fame, strength, and renunciation. When one possesses this all six opulences, then that person is called Bhagavan. And not just possessing these opulences, but possessing these opulences 100%. Okay, we all might have little bit of this, little bit of that. We might be famous in our own village, but we are not so famous in the worldwide, correct? Or in the universal wide. But in every universe you go, they know, more majority of the populace know that Krishna is supreme. Yes, we do have atheists like that. Every universe might have atheists, and they might deny existence of Krishna or the fame of Krishna. Yes, but still the majority of the group knew Krishna, correct, as supreme. So he is famous, and he is fully knowledgeable. He spoke Bhagavad Gita in less than 1 hour. So it's for us to read Bhagavad Gita, it's not easy. For reading one verse a day itself is hard for us. Okay, I remember I asked you guys to have a read on the translation and purport. Correct? Last time?
Yes.
Yes. Have you done that, all of you?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So maybe when I finish this, I will ask one by one what you understood from that purport. Okay. So Krishna here, he's also telling about this in purport. Sorry, Prabhupada is telling that we have information of many incarnations of the Lord. Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam. Okay, this meter is to be read differently. I'm just wondering, how do we read this meter? Advaitam Achyutam Anadi Anantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayavvanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabam Adurlabam Atma Bhakto Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, Govinda, who is the original person, absolute, infallible, absolute, Advaitam, Achyutam, infallible, Anadim, without beginning. Although expanded into unlimited forms, he is still the same original. If there is a candle, you light other candles, still the light of the first candle remains the same, correct? Like the power is same. Similarly, it's not that you remove one and then it becomes zero, like a material thing. Rather, Krishna is fully Sachidananda Vigraha. So even if you take one, that means if you have incarnation avatars from him, he's avatari, others are avatars. Whatever the incarnations he had expanded into, they are avatars. He is the original Purusha. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam in Bhagavatam, it comes in the first canto. Okay. He's still the same original, the oldest. Oldest doesn't mean he is so old person. He has this beard and looking very ugly old. No, he is always Navayavana. He is always appearing to be fresh youth. Okay, such eternal, blissful, all-knowing forms of the Lord are usually not understood by even the best Vedic scholars. They are always manifest to pure, unalloyed devotees. For pure devotees, we know we can understand Krishna. If we are not pure devotees, understanding Krishna is not possible. That means if we are not pure, if something happens in our life, we will question why this happened. Something bad happened, right? If the good happened, we will never question. Yeah, of course I deserve this. But something bad happened. Oh no, I don't deserve this. How come this can happen to me? This is wrong. This is absolutely wrong. This is not right. But we don't think we deserve much more than this bad thing. But we don't accept that fact. We think we are always best. Yeah, we always think I'm good. It's just some mistake had happened that some bad has come to me like that. Can somebody read this verse and translation, please? Number 6.
अजोऽपि सन् अव्ययात्मा भूतानाम् ईश्वरोऽपि सन् प्रकृतिं स्वाम् अधिष्ठाय सम्भवामि आत्ममायया. Translation: Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form.
Krishna is Aja. Aja means unborn. We see that Krishna was taking birth as in a human form in Dwapara Yuga to Mother Devaki, and then it was the pregnancy was then migrated to not transmigrated, but it kind of commuted, right? But then again, we see that Krishna was taken by Nand Maharaj, not Nanda Maharaj, it was Dev. King Vasudev took King baby Krishna and put him next to Mother Yashoda. Sometimes we also hear there is pregnancy transformation happening. But anyway, we don't want to go into too much of that. But the point is, it appeared to be Krishna took birth, but then Krishna is never born, right? He always present. It's us that we take birth in this body or another body based on our karma. But for him, he comes in according to his own will, and on his own energy. It's not like he was forced to take birth in this particular family at this particular time. No, he chooses who to come. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 500 years ago was going to appear on the Mother Earth, he told the devotees and the Devi Devatas, whoever very qualified, not just any ordinary Devi Devatas. Devi Devatas already not ordinary, but on top of that, there are devotee Devi Devatas. Okay, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told them, okay, I'm going to take birth there in Navadvip, so you guys go already, get ready and take birth there and be ready for me, and then I'll come join. The same thing happened when Krishna was going to take birth. So he said, okay, I'm going to come. So you just make sure you go, some of you go to Vrindavan, some of you go to Yadu dynasty, and stay there. Some of you go Madura. So he had plans who to go where, and then they did that. And then once the pastime was going to wind up, then he made sure that whoever has to return to their original places, like some of them were Devi Devadas, they have to go to heavenly planets. Some of them actually came from Krishna Loka, so they have to go there. Some from Vaikuntha, so they have to go there. So whoever came from wherever, they just went back there. And some has to stay back, again, based on their own other needs. That, for example, Uddhava has to stay back because he has to give that knowledge of Uddhava Gita to Badrika Ashram sages. Okay, so these are all pre-planned anyway. So he comes, and that way. For us, no, we are not coming, and then I tell, okay, mommy, my sister, you go take birth here, and then make sure you're ready. I'm coming. No, that doesn't happen. I have to take birth when I have to take birth, by the destiny. Okay, it's not my will. Sometimes we would think, oh, why I took birth here. I wish I took birth there. I wish I looked better. I appear better. I am more beautiful or famous, whatever we think. But for Krishna, he chose us, right? That's a big difference. And he also says he comes every millennium in his original transcendental form. That is Krishna. Okay, so he tells also that once every millennium, we also know Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. So every millennium after millennium he comes. That is one day of Brahma. Okay, one day of Brahma he comes, and then another day come. For Brahma, he can see Krishna daily, like office, during the day I work 10 hours a day. Okay, I can see Krishna in pastimes. Krishna doesn't only appear in the one particular universe. There are unlimited universes. It is said that Ananta Sesha, you remember Ananta Sesha, he is an incarnation of Balaram, and he always takes care of Krishna, and he is the one holding the entire universes, right? The material universes. So on the hood of Ananta Sesha, it is said in Bhagavatam that there are mustard seeds. So, how you see packs of mustard seeds, sacks of mustard seeds, and can you count how many mustard seeds? You can't, because there are too many, right? Like that, how you see mustard seeds, like that, there are universes on top of Ananta Sesha's hoods, and they are very tiny. If you put mustard seed on your head, would you feel any pain or the gravity? No, you just feel nothing almost, unless someone tells you, oh, there is mustard seed, then you feel, oh yeah, there is mustard seeds, and then you remove. But generally speaking, if there is mustard seed on your hair, especially when you have a thick hair, you don't even feel it. So Anantasesha doesn't even feel mustard seeds. That is universes. There are so many unlimited universes. And Krishna is not like, okay, I only take birth in universe number A, but universe number 1, but not universe number 49. No, he would randomly, not random, but there are plans why and when he appears. But he does that in all the universes. While pastime is happening here now, for example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is doing a pastime in Mother Earth 500 years ago. At the same time, in the different universe, he might be doing Ramachandra's pastime or Krishna's pastime. Like that. There are things happening everywhere. It's not that boring thing. Krishna also enjoys performing his leelas, obviously, so he enjoys that. And of course, he wanted to have some time with his devotees who have sacrificed their time, not having to continue to reside in the top planets, like Krishna Loka or Vaikuntha, but rather they come down because of Krishna's suggestion, Krishna's request. They came down. It's a sacrifice for them, right? Like, for example, if I'm living in a comfortable house, but my father is saying, look, if there is something we needed to do, can you go and stay in that regional place in the village to do some little bit of farming, to collect some, for example, if I have an olive farm and I have to collect olive during the harvesting time, so I have to travel. So the place where I have to stay is not very comfortable, obviously, because it's in the farm, and it's very less luxurious or comfortableness, but still I have to stay there to get the things done and then come back, and then I can continue to enjoy where I was originally residing. But the thing I'm doing here is sacrificing to achieve one thing, to listen to my father. And also achieving that thing, I have to do that. So it's a sacrifice. Similarly, when Krishna asks his devotees, can you do this? And he would, the devotees would not hesitate. It's an opportunity for them also to come down to engage in the association of devotees, other devotees, and Krishna also. Okay, but it is a big sacrifice too, because they are leaving their comfort zones and they are leaving their whatever the job, the service they are doing up there, but coming and doing something totally different. When Haridas Thakur came, he was actually Lord Brahma himself. You remember the pastime of Lord Brahma, Brahma Vimoha Leela, that he stole the calves and cows and the monkeys and the cowherd boys, and then he returned because he was bewildered, and he did that mistake. Even though it's all Leela, you don't think that, oh, this should be punished and that's why he did that and that's why he took birth as this. No, it's all part of Leela, and giving the devotees opportunities again and again to appear in different Leelas at different times. Okay, so we should not see at one with one vision, but it's like a multifocal thing. Okay, we have to look everything outside of the box. Why this happened like that? And for that also we need guru acharyas to explain that, otherwise we will never understand. Correct? Next, when Brahma did that, and to teach him a lesson, it was said like this: he took birth as a Sudra, Malaysia. That means low class. So he took birth in the low class family, and it happened to be in a Muslim family. Muslim family means, naturally they don't engage in Harinam, reading Bhagavatam or associating with devotees, anything like that, correct? So this is what you are deprived of, these facilities, these services, or nine process of bhakti, right? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dashyam, Atmanirveninam. So you're deprived of all this because you're born in that family. Naturally, you're not given any of these facilities, correct? If you're in the Muslim family, you obviously do what a normal Muslim would do. So therefore he was deprived of that. That is like a kind of a punishment or reformation, something like that. But still, Haridas Thakur, because Brahma means what? He has to be a highly intelligent. His body is made up of intelligence, correct? For us, our body is made up of Panchamahabhuta. Brahma's body is made up of fully intelligence. So he is intelligent. If we, even with little intelligence, we can understand Krishna is supreme, then what to speak of when Krishna gave Vedas directly to Brahma through Hridaya. So there is a verse. Tena Brahma Hridaye Adi Kavaye Muhyanti Yat Surayah. Bhagavatam, second verse. Janmadi Ashya Yadaho. So in this verse, Krishna would tell that, not Krishna, sorry. So it is said, Sukadeva Goswami or Vyasadeva, I think, it is said that that Brahma heard the Vedas through heart, like USB transformation, like I put USB and then copy paste, like that, heart to heart, from Krishna to Brahma, the knowledge came. So they have that much relationship. When Brahma came, the entire universe was dark. He doesn't know what to do. And that time he has to do something. He's so blind, it's so dark. If you are put in such a place, what you do, you cry and die. But obviously he's full of intelligence, right? So he figured out, there was an ocean that was making a sound, thapa, thapa, thapa. Then he understood that thapa. So, okay, I have to do tapasya, austerity. Then he sat down in meditation, thinking of Lord for 1,000 years, I believe, and then just to know what to do next. So he spent 1,000 years to find out what to do. Like, we can't even sit down for 1 minute to find out what to do. We always do randomly this thing, that monkey thing or this monkey thing. But for him to do something useful, he actually sat down for that many years to find out. And then in the heart, again, revealed. So he started creating the bodies for the souls. And the souls came from, of course, it was resting in the body of Vishnu. And then it came. So he created. So primary created Sarga, Visharga. There is a secondary creation, primary creation. So primary creation done by Krishna and secondary was created by Brahma. Okay. So, yeah. So when Haridas Thakur was there, and so I'm just trying to establish, to understand the position that was Brahma was holding, right? His really popular and having good relationship with Krishna. And whoever, whenever Devi Devatas have problem, they all go to Brahma only directly. They don't go to Krishna. Okay, they do the proper channel. That's a proper etiquette also. You don't directly meet the boss, but you go to the manager first, and then the manager will talk to the boss. And that way, manager knows how to tackle, what to say, what not to say. But these employees, they might say something rubbish, and then boss might get offended and fire him only. So therefore, Devi Devatas always go to Brahma and tell, oh Brahma, there is a problem. Can you please solve? And then Brahma, okay, all right, all right. I don't know how to solve. I'll go to Krishna, and then he'll go to Krishna. That's what every time happens. So anyway, now that is the position of Brahma. So he's not ordinary human being. He's superior for all of us. And he has almost 70% of the qualities, the opulences that we discussed. He has almost 70% of those what Krishna has. Krishna has 100%. And now he came as Haridas Thakur, born in Muslim family, but now he is attracted. He was attracted to Harinam, and then he became a very good devotee, and he is a Namacharya. Means Harinamacharya means that is Haridas Thakur. He doesn't do anything until he finishes all his three lakhs, I think, 3 lakhs rounds of 3 lakhs names of Krishna. Until he finishes, he wouldn't eat or sleep. And we also discussed there was a prostitute sent by another Brahmana, Smartha Brahmana, who was very jealous, envious of this Haridas Thakur, thinking, oh, he is always doing this, and what is he doing? He's a Muslim. Why is he doing Harinam chanting? We need to stop. So, okay, let us send a prostitute to bewilder him. So when he falls down, he'll stop all this nonsense. And like that, they were so envious and demoniac. Even though he was Brahmana, he was like that. So he sent a prostitute, and the prostitute came, approached, and she showed whatever, like in the poshy way, like, to give him the intention, the desire that wanted to enjoy her. But because he's a devotee, right? He's not agitated at all. He's a pure devotee. That's why he wasn't agitated. If we are like only trying this little bit, that little bit, then we'll be easily agitated. Someone giving you money or something, we don't think, oh, let's use this in Krishna consciousness. We think, oh, how can I enjoy this? That's how our first conscious would be, correct? Because he's a pure devotee, he sees Pandita Samadarshina, seeing everyone equally. That we will discuss in Bhagavad Gita also. So she came and she asked, and he's like, he didn't offend her. He said, look, yeah, I can satisfy you, whatever you want can satisfy you, but wait, because I have to do my rounds. Once I finish, I'll do whatever you want to do. She waited and waited. She was doing this. She was, plucking the grass and listening to him and waiting and checking. Oh, what is this going on? I'm still waiting. He's not coming. What kind of man is he? I'm a prostitute, and if somebody looks at me only, they wanted to enjoy me. But I'm sitting next to him like this. Still, he is not bewildered. He is not agitated, and she started to getting the inspiration, started to admire him, adore him, like, wow, this is a kind of a person I've never met. And then slowly 2 days, next day it came, and she started chanting only. And that's the power of devotee. This is like contamination in a good way, good sense. If you are sitting next to someone, whatever they do, eventually you will do that also. That's why we always tell A, B, C, D. Associating with devotees, A. B, reading books like this as it is, Bhagavad Gita as it is, Srila Prabhupada's books. And then C, chanting. And then D, diet, the food practice that you follow, eating nice, wholesome, nutritious food every day, not any random food. And also deity worship, keeping deities or deity pictures in the home and worshipping, offering food, patram, pushpam, phalam, thoyam, like that. Okay, when we do all these things, then what happens is we also get purification, and we also be able to serve Krishna nicely without any agitation. Otherwise, what happens is we get agitated when something bad happens, we get agitated when something attractive happens, we get agitated. Okay, to avoid all this, what to do is we have to practice bhakti simply by following this ABCD. Okay, I'll stop here. And any questions?
Mataji, when Jaya and Vijaya were cursed, like they were born as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, then as Ravan and Kumbhakarna, and then that Dantavakra and Shishupal, right? So just wanted to know more about Dantavakra. Like,
So Dandavakra, there was not much described in his part, because what happens is the power of the demons first. Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu more powerful, then Kumbhakarna, Ravana a little bit less than that, and then the power was getting little bit diminished over the time, and then the story, the pastime also, the details of the pastime also started to getting diminished. Not too much of those described, or too much of importance given to those characters in the pastime, like that. Over the time, that when the turn comes to this Dandavakra, it was like almost like nothing only. I think it was easily he was killed. I think by touch on the head, or like chopping the head or something. Dandavakra, yeah. So that was easily killed. I don't know. I can't really remember that story. Maybe you can do a research and tell us the story next time. How about that?
okay, Mataji, I'll
Hmm.
search.
So yeah, in Mahabharatam it comes Dandavakra means crooked body. I think that's why his name was Dandavakra, and he was very envious of Krishna. Obviously, he wanted to kill, and yeah, he was chasing or something, and then yeah, he was killed easily. Like that. So yeah, you just find out and tell us next week. And any other questions, before I ask you to share your thing? Any other questions?